The transmission arrived without warning, a faint pulse of static that carried the last desperate voices of a research team from the edge of mapped space. Captain Lyra's eyes narrowed as she leaned over the console, her fingers brushing the cold metal. "They didn't even leave a name for it," she murmured. "Just the silence." Around her, the crew of the Aegis shifted uneasily. The outpost was on a planet no human had ever set foot on willingly. Reports said alien expeditions never returned, their ships found drifting or shattered, their logs ending mid-sentence. Lyra had read the accounts a dozen times, but now, with the voices faintly echoing through her headset, fear became tangible. Not the fear of dying, humans had that, but the fascination that came with staring into the unknown and knowing you could survive where others hadn't. "Captain, are you seriously considering landing there?" Lieutenant Voss asked, his tone tight. He was the kind of soldier who measured danger and probability charts and bullet trajectories, and right now, every cell in his body screamed that this was a bad idea. Lyra didn't answer immediately. She allowed the silence to hang in the cabin, heavy and expectant. "We're not going there to fight," she said finally. "We're going to learn. That's what humans do. Others die. We adapt." The crew exchanged wary glances, and she could see the tension coiling in their shoulders. Even among humans, only a few ever volunteered for missions labeled unwinnable. But she could feel it, the pull that whispered in her chest, urging her forward. Curiosity was a dangerous thing, but it was sharper than any weapon. The Aegis descended through the planet's thin, toxic atmosphere. Clouds of violet mist twisted around jagged rock formations, and the horizon seemed to bleed light into shadow. Lyra gripped the railing as the ship's hull shuddered. Sensors picked up movement, small things at first. Shadows that flickered across the cliffs, shapes too quick to identify. Dr. Sari, the xenobiologist, tapped her data pad nervously. "I'm telling you, Captain, the readings are inconsistent. Something large is moving out there, but it's not following any pattern we know." Her voice shook and she wasn't prone to fear. Lyra knew she meant it. The landing site was a plateau high above a crater that had long been abandoned by explorers, or so the logs suggested. Lyra stepped out first, the vacuum suit sealing with a hiss. The wind cut through the terrain like glass. Every instinct told her to stay inside the Aegis, but she didn't. Humans weren't made to watch the unknown from a distance. They stepped into it. Lieutenant Voss followed, scanning the shadows with his pulse rifle. "Feels wrong," he muttered. "Like we're being watched." "Good," Lyra said quietly. "If we're not being watched, we're already dead." Her own heartbeat thrummed loud in her helmet as they moved across the plateau, leaving deep impressions in the brittle surface. A soft vibration ran through the ground beneath them, almost imperceptible. Dr. Sari stopped, eyes wide behind her visor. "Did you feel that?" Lyra crouched to touch the soil. It was warm, oddly alive. The vibration didn't repeat. It came once, like a heartbeat buried beneath the crust of the planet. It didn't belong to any creature she had studied, any predator she had encountered. Her mind raced, but her voice remained calm. "Whatever it is, it's aware of us." The wind shifted, carrying a metallic tang that made Voss flinch. A distant echo, almost like a roar, but drowned in the mist, rumbled through the canyon. It wasn't a sound that could be measured by any scanner, they had no frame of reference. Yet every human on the plateau froze, an instinctive fear anchoring them to the ground. Dr. Sari whispered, "It's not normal. Nothing could survive out there, and yet it's alive." Lyra's eyes swept the horizon. Nothing moved, and yet every shadow seemed pregnant with motion. Her pulse quickened, not with fear but anticipation. The unknown waited, patient, watching the humans who had dared to step into the forbidden. Then, without warning, a massive shape flitted across the periphery of her vision. Too fast to track. Too quiet to be noticed by the others. The mist swallowed it instantly. Lyra's breath caught. Something had just passed between the rocks and it hadn't run. It had walked. Or glided. Or decided to appear. She didn't speak. No words could describe what she had felt. A presence so alive, so aware, it bent the very air around it. She knew in that instant that this was no ordinary predator. This was something the galaxy had feared, something that had survived countless hunters and explorers. And now it had noticed them. A low, almost imperceptible growl vibrated through the plateau. The mist twisted around them like fingers reaching for warmth. Lyra's hand instinctively tightened on her weapon, not because she believed it would save her, but because she had to do something, anything. Then the vibration beneath their feet intensified. Something moved under the plateau, something massive. Something that had been waiting. And just as suddenly as it had begun, the plateau went silent. Too silent. Lyra's heart pounded. She took a slow, careful step forward. Something shifted in the mist ahead. And then, a shadow stretched across the plateau, larger than any human, darker than the deepest night. She froze. The creature had revealed itself. The shadow lingered for a heartbeat longer than it should have, then vanished into the violet mist. Lyra's breath echoed in her helmet as she motioned for the team to regroup. Stay close. Whatever that is, it's not gone. Voss scanned the plateau with trembling hands, pulse rifle raised. Captain, I don't think it's just hiding. I think it's playing with us. Dr. Sari shivered, her eyes darting to the jagged cliffs. There's intelligence here. I've never felt anything like it. It's studying us. The Aegis sensor still showed nothing definitive, no heat signatures, no movement patterns. The plateau seemed empty, yet every human step echoed against unseen eyes. Lyra adjusted her helmet microphone. Then we play smarter. They advanced carefully, the wind carrying an acrid smell like burnt metal and ozone. Small disturbances appeared. Broken branches, claw marks etched into stone, footprints too large and irregular to belong to any creature recorded in human databases. Yet the marks weren't recent. Some were decades old, faded into the soil. It was a puzzle, a warning, and a hint of the danger that had already survived countless hunters. Voss scowled. It's mocking us. Whoever, or whatever, made these, it wants us to see them. Lyra crouched to examine the prints. Not just see, learn. There's a pattern here. Her fingers traced the jagged impressions. Each mark pointed toward the cliffs and the shadows beyond, as if guiding them deeper into the unknown. It's hurting us. The team moved with more caution, senses straining. Every rock seemed alive. The mist thickened unnaturally, carrying whispers that weren't quite sound. Dr. Sari muttered under her breath, I've studied alien behavior for years. I've never encountered anything that could manipulate its environment like this. Hours passed without incident, but the tension only grew. Strange echoes, soft, rhythmic thumps, resonated from the canyon walls. They didn't match any heartbeat or known life form. Lyra's stomach tightened. Something immense was moving beneath them, just out of sight. Then came the first real warning. A massive boulder, perched precariously above the plateau, trembled violently and crashed down mere meters from their path. Dust and debris filled the air. Voss fired instinctively, but the shot struck nothing. That wasn't random, Lyra said, her voice low. It's testing us, gauging how we react. Dr. Sari's eyes widened. Or warning us. If it wanted to kill us, we'd already be dead. The crew pressed forward, more alert than ever. Every step felt like a negotiation with the unseen presence. Then came the whisper, a sound barely audible through the comms, like a breath, distant but deliberate. It wasn't a roar, not yet. It was a signal, a reminder that the hunters were now the hunted. Hours of cautious exploration led them to the edge of a canyon filled with jagged spires and swirling violet mist. Lyra paused, scanning the area. Look for anomalies in the terrain. Any clue where it might be hiding. Dr. Sari crouched and pointed. These spires, they're not natural. They've been shaped, carved, almost like architecture. But it's organic. And fresh growth is forming along the cracks. Voss frowned. So it's alive, and smart enough to build? That's impossible. Nothing about this is possible, Lyra said, stepping closer. Her eyes caught movement at the very edge of the mist, a flicker of something massive and sleek. A silhouette, glimpsed for a moment, vanishing before any human could track it. The movement was deliberate, calculated, and terrifyingly fast. Lyra's chest tightened. She realized then that this was more than a predator. It was a strategist. Every step, every reaction, every small display of force was designed to test their courage, their intellect, their unity. Humans weren't just confronting a creature. They were confronting a mind that had survived eons by staying unseen. The mist began to shift around them, curling in unnatural patterns. Voss tightened his grip on his rifle. It's surrounding us. Lyra's pulse raced. No, we're surrounding it. We just don't know it yet. Suddenly, a low vibration ran through the canyon floor. This time it wasn't distant. It came from directly beneath their feet. The soil shuddered, the rocks quivered, and the air felt charged. Every human instinct screamed to run, but Lyra held her ground. Move slowly, she ordered, her voice steady despite the fear. Every step counts. The vibration intensified, a rhythm that seemed almost communicative. Voss whispered, it's trying to tell us something. And then a shadow flickered across the mist again, impossibly fast, closer than before. Dr. Sari froze, a hand to her visor. It's watching, judging, learning. The team held their breath, every sense screaming danger. The canyon walls seemed to pulse with anticipation, the air thick and heavy, charged with a presence they could neither see nor name. Then, without warning, a sharp crack echoed behind them, a boulder splitting, a cliff giving way, or something far worse. The sound came from the mist, from the side of the canyon where they hadn't yet looked. Lyra spun, eyes wide, and for the first time she felt the cold brush of true fear. Whatever was out there, it had made a decision. And it was coming closer. The canyon air pressed against them like a living thing. Mist curled around jagged spires, shifting in patterns that made the shadows seem to crawl. Every step Lyra took was measured, cautious, but curiosity burned hotter than fear. The creature had revealed something impossible, intelligence. And now it was drawing them closer, testing the line between hunter and hunted. Voss muttered, "This place, it's alive. I swear the rocks move when we're not looking." Lyra didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the mist, searching for the flicker of movement she had glimpsed before. Her instincts told her something remarkable had happened. The creature wasn't just reacting, it was curious. She could feel it studying them, almost like a sentient mirror. Dr. Sari knelt to examine a series of shallow impressions in the soil. "These aren't footprints," she whispered. "They're pressure points, deliberate. Whoever, or whatever, made them knows how we move. It's guiding us. Or leading us," Voss corrected, voice tense. "Straight into its trap." Lyra shook her head. "Maybe. Or maybe, it wants to communicate." The thought hung in the canyon like a fragile thread. Humans had faced countless predators across the galaxy, but none had ever tried to bridge understanding. Curiosity, courage, and empathy had always been human traits that allowed survival where raw strength failed. She felt a flicker of hope, dangerous but real. They moved forward, following the subtle guidance of the impressions. The mist thickened, and an acrid tang filled their senses, forcing them to mask their fear and focus on every movement. Then the first direct sign, a shadow shifted across the mist, brushing the spire walls like a whisper. Lyra froze. The outline was enormous, long, sleek, impossibly fluid, but it paused, unthreatening. Voss raised his rifle instinctively, but Lyra's hand stopped him. "Wait. Watch. Don't react." The shadow lingered for a moment as if weighing them, then receded. Dr. Sari whispered, "It's testing us. It's trusting us to some extent." "Trust?" Voss scoffed. "It's a predator. It kills everything that touches its territory." "Maybe not everything," Lyra said, eyes narrowing. "Maybe we're different." A sudden vibration underfoot made them stagger. The ground hummed with an unnatural energy, and the shadows shifted again. Then a sound unlike anything they had heard, a low, resonant hum that seemed almost musical. It carried through the canyon, and Lyra felt it resonate in her chest. Dr. Sari's eyes widened. "It's communicating." That was deliberate. That wasn't a roar. The humans moved cautiously toward the sound. Mist parted around a cluster of spires, revealing a glimpse of the creature. Not fully, just enough to see the glint of intelligence in its form. It watched from the shadows, limbs poised, body coiled like a predator ready to strike, yet it did not move toward them. Voss whispered harshly, "It's huge. I've never seen anything like it. We can't." Lyra stepped forward. "We don't run. Humans survive by understanding, not hiding." The creature's gaze seemed to linger on her, curious, almost analytical. Every instinct screamed danger. But there was something else, recognition. It paused, mimicking a slow movement, a tilt of the head, and the mist swirled in response, almost like it was breathing with them. Dr. Sari took a tentative step forward, her hand trembling. "It's aware of intention. It's almost empathetic." Voss's rifle twitched, but Lyra held him back. "Careful. Any sudden move will ruin this. We have one chance to see what it wants." For a tense moment, canyon, humans, and creature seemed suspended in fragile equilibrium. The mist shifted again, and the shadow moved closer, fluid and deliberate. It brushed past a spire, revealing a hint of iridescent skin, a flash of something alive and alien that seemed to shimmer in recognition of their presence. Then a sound came from behind, another team of alien hunters. They had followed the humans, unaware of the intelligence they were approaching. Their presence disrupted the fragile balance. Metallic boots clanged against the plateau stones, echoing unnaturally in the canyon. The creature reacted instantly, a low growl vibrating through the mist that sent shivers down every human spine. Lyra's heart pounded. The creature didn't attack immediately, but it coiled, muscles rippling beneath sleek armor-like skin. It was ready. It had evaluated every threat. And now the humans were no longer alone. Dr. Sari whispered, "It knows. It's choosing us over them." Voss stepped forward instinctively, but Lyra grabbed his arm. "Do not provoke it. Let it decide." The mist thickened, swirling faster, wrapping around the intruders. A strange, almost melodic vibration filled the canyon. The creature's shape shifted in the haze, massive and fluid, moving like water through the jagged rocks. It glided between the humans and the alien hunters, a wall of living shadow and instinct. Lyra's chest tightened. She realized then that survival wasn't about weapons. It was about connection, understanding, and the courage to confront something far greater than themselves. The creature had acknowledged them, not as prey but as equals. And then the first shot rang out. Metal struck mist, echoing like thunder. The creature recoiled, unseen but reacting instantly, and the humans were thrown off balance. Voss raised his rifle to fire again, but Lyra held him back. She stared into the swirling shadows, her mind racing. The creature was waiting, testing, calculating. One wrong move and everything could be destroyed. The alien hunters advanced blindly, unaware of the true danger that watched them. Lyra took a slow, deliberate step forward, knowing that understanding the creature meant risking everything. And then a flash of movement exploded from the mist, a blur of claws, muscle, and thought, and everything changed. The blast echoed through the canyon like rolling thunder, scattering mist and dust. Lyra's ears rang inside the helmet as she lunged to shield Dr. Sari from the shockwave. Voss fired back instinctively, but the alien hunters were already faltering, thrown off by the unseen force moving among the jagged spires. Whatever it was no ordinary predator, it was orchestrating the battlefield. Lyra's heart raced. She had suspected intelligence before, but now it became undeniable. The creature wasn't merely defending territory, it was assessing every action, every instinct, every human choice. It was calculating. From the haze, a shape surged. Too fast to track, yet deliberate. The humans froze, realizing that speed alone didn't explain the power behind it. It was anticipating, predicting, responding. A low, resonant hum vibrated in the canyon, and Lyra felt it deep in her chest, a voice without words. Somehow it was communicating. Dr. Sari whispered, almost breathless. "It knows we're different. It understands us, somehow." Voss frowned, hands shaking. "It's not possible. Nothing this intelligent could evolve naturally here. It should be a predator, nothing more." "Not natural," Lyra muttered. Her mind raced. The pieces were falling into place. The creature's pattern, the guidance in the soil, the pressure points, the shapes of the mist, it wasn't just hunting, it was teaching. And there was a reason no one had survived before. The mist shifted again and the creature appeared more fully this time. Lyra caught a glimpse of a head, sleek and iridescent, with eyes that glimmered in strange colors, reflecting something almost human. Awareness, curiosity, even empathy. It hovered between shadow and light, massive yet graceful, a living enigma. And then came the revelation. Among the rocks, hidden from their first approach, Lyra noticed an alien device. Old, metallic, partially buried. Data spikes protruded from it, sensors still faintly blinking. Memories of failed expeditions flooded her mind. This wasn't just a predator, it was part of a containment system, or an experiment. The hunters, Lyra said slowly, they didn't fail because they were weak. They failed because they interfered with something they didn't understand. This creature, this entity, was never meant to be approached. The mist pulsed violently, almost as if responding to her thoughts. The creature moved closer, halting just beyond the line of visibility. Lyra took a deep breath. It's testing us, and we passed. Somehow, it trusts us more than the others. A sudden flash of light revealed holographic projections around the canyon walls, recordings from alien ships that had ventured here decades ago. They showed crews attacking blindly, panicking, falling prey not to a mindless beast but to a sentient, deliberate intelligence. Every human failure had been recorded, studied, catalogued. The creature had learned from them all. Dr. Sari gasped. It's conscious. Fully conscious. It's adapting faster than any weapon, any strategy. And it's protecting itself and us. Voss shook his head, pale. Protecting us? Are you insane? It could crush us all. Not if we prove we're worthy, Lyra said, her voice steady. She realized the truth. Survival wasn't about strength or firepower. It was about trust, empathy, and courage, the very things that defined humans. The creature hadn't been defeated before because no one had dared to meet it as an equal. Suddenly, the alien hunters stumbled into the canyon, shouting orders. Their weapons activated, beams cutting through the mist. The creature reacted instantaneously, positioning itself between the humans and the intruders. It moved with precision, disabling the hunters without lethal force, crushing machinery, knocking them off balance, forcing retreats, but never harming life unnecessarily. Lyra's breath caught. The creature wasn't just smart. It had a moral compass. And in an instant she understood why humans might be the first to survive. The creature recognized intent, judgment, even empathy. It was not simply a hunter, it was a sentient force judging worthiness. Then came the final shock. One of the holographic projections flickered, revealing schematics of the canyon, the plateau, and the creature's lair. A hidden chamber appeared beneath the plateau, filled with bioluminescent growths, strange energy conduits, and evidence that the creature had been observed, experimented on, and underestimated for centuries. The alien hunters hadn't understood it, they had only tried to kill what they didn't comprehend. Lyra took a cautious step forward, realizing the enormity of the moment. It's alive, not just alive but aware of us, aware of our choices. It knows we're different. The creature emerged fully from the mist, massive and breathtaking, its skin shimmering with bioluminescence. Its gaze fixed on Lyra, and in that instant, a bridge was formed. Mutual understanding. Recognition. Something unspoken passed between them, a pact of survival, intellect, and respect. Dr. Sari's voice trembled. It sees us as equals. Voss lowered his rifle slowly, disbelief etched across his face. Lyra nodded, heart pounding, knowing the truth. Humans had survived where no one else could because they dared to understand, to connect, to prove worth through courage and ingenuity rather than violence. But the canyon was far from safe. The mist still swirled unpredictably, the alien hunters were regrouping, and the hidden chamber's secrets suggested dangers far beyond the creature itself. They had survived the first test, but the ultimate challenge had only begun. Then, without warning, the ground beneath the plateau shuddered violently, and a deep, guttural vibration echoed through the mist. Something else was awakening below. Lyra's eyes widened. The creature turned toward the tremor, massive body tensing. They weren't alone. And this time it wasn't just a test. The tremor beneath the plateau grew into a roar, vibrating through the canyon like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Dust and mist twisted violently as massive fissures split the ground, revealing glimpses of glowing alien machinery intertwined with bioluminescent lifeforms. Whatever slumbered below had been disturbed, awakened by centuries of intrusion. Lyra's chest tightened. This was the ultimate test, the final crucible of human courage. The creature, the deadliest being in the galaxy, the entity that had survived every hunter, shifted beside them. Its skin shimmered in pulses, reflecting the human silhouettes against the jagged canyon. Lyra could feel its awareness as clearly as her own heartbeat. It wasn't just a predator. It was an ally, a sentinel, a living mind that had chosen to trust humanity. Voss tightened his grip on his rifle, but for once, there was no instinct to fire. Every instinct screamed caution, but a deeper understanding had begun to take root. Humans survived not through brute force, but through intelligence, empathy, and courage. And now all of those qualities were needed at once. Dr. Sari knelt near the edge of a fissure, scanning the glowing energy conduits. The machinery beneath, it's ancient. It's controlling something massive, something alive. If it fully awakens, it could destroy the plateau, the canyon, everything. Lyra's eyes swept the scene. The alien hunters had retreated, their weapons useless against the intelligent predator now aligned with humans. But the true danger was below. She took a slow, deliberate breath. We adapt. That's what humans do. Let's move. They advanced carefully, the creature gliding beside them with uncanny precision. The ground shook violently beneath each step, fissures widening with every tremor. Lyra realized the true scale of the being below. It wasn't merely another predator. It was a planet-scale sentinel dormant for centuries, designed to judge, eliminate, and adapt. As they neared a massive, glowing chamber at the heart of the fissures, the creature raised a massive limb. Its movements were deliberate, almost ceremonial, as if guiding them forward. Lyra understood. Survival required cooperation, not just with each other but with the entity beside them. Inside the chamber, the sheer size of what awaited was staggering. Energy conduits twisted like giant veins, pulsing with life. Strange crystalline structures hummed, resonating with a frequency that made Lyra's skin tingle. And at the center, partially obscured, a colossal form stirred, ancient, aware and undeniably alive. The creature beside them stepped forward, its bioluminescent patterns shifting into a sequence that Lyra somehow recognized as communication. Not words but intention. It wants us to act, she realized. It trusts us to choose wisely. Voss swallowed hard. Act how? We're human. We don't have powers or weapons to. You have brains, Lyra interrupted firmly. Brains, courage, and the willingness to face the impossible. That's enough. The chamber's central entity thrummed, sensing, evaluating. The humans could feel its consciousness probing theirs. Lyra raised a hand slowly, almost instinctively, toward the glowing core. The creature mirrored her movement, guiding her. It wasn't a simple connection, it was a bridge of understanding. Dr. Sari's voice trembled with awe. It's responding to our intent. Cooperating. But it's testing our morality, our choices. The fissures shook violently, and glowing fragments of crystalline structures rained down. The chamber seemed alive, aware of every thought, every heartbeat. Lyra focused on the pulse of the entity, matching her rhythm to its energy. The humans and the creature became a single unit, awareness, courage, empathy, and intelligence intertwined. A sudden flash of blinding light engulfed the chamber, and Lyra felt the energy course through her, through all of them. The ancient sentinel responded, not with violence but with recognition. It pulsed in time with their courage, harmonizing, adapting, acknowledging. The canyon outside stilled. The mist cleared. The alien hunters, still lurking at the plateau's edge, stared in disbelief. They had underestimated humans. The humans had not only survived, but they had earned respect, earned understanding from the galaxy's deadliest creature. Lyra exhaled, realizing that survival had never been about defeating the impossible with strength. It had been about intelligence, empathy, courage, and the audacity to face the unknown. The creature beside her lowered its massive head in what could almost be called a gesture of respect. Dr. Sari whispered, eyes wide. We've changed something here. Forever. Voss finally lowered his rifle, shaking his head in disbelief. I never thought I'd see this. Humans, we actually did it. Lyra placed a hand gently on the creature's shimmering limb. Its skin radiated warmth and awareness. For the first time she felt something she couldn't have imagined. A bond across species, across worlds. Humans had reached where no one else had dared, and in doing so, had proven the value of ingenuity, courage, and empathy. The sentinel below pulsed once more as if sealing a pact. The canyon, the plateau, and the mist became still, alive yet harmonious. The humans had left their mark, not in destruction but in understanding, in survival. And as the aegis lifted off from the plateau, carrying the humans away, Lyra glanced back at the creature. It remained, massive and enigmatic, a guardian and a witness. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans could face the impossible and emerge stronger, wiser, and above all, alive. Yet even as the plateau faded beneath the mist, a tremor ran through the planet, small, distant, almost imperceptible. The creature had defended them today, but the cosmos was vast, and the challenges ahead were infinite. Humans had survived, but the universe was far from done testing them. Lyra's lips curved into a determined smile. We're ready, she whispered. And somewhere in the shadows of the canyon, a pulse of recognition returned, an unspoken promise that the bond they had forged was only the beginning.